You stand in the heart of Tenochtitlan, where the air is thick with the scent of burning incense and the salty spray of the lake. To your left, a young boy no older than 10 walks with his head bowed. He is not going to play. He is heading toward the House of Youth, a place where his childhood ends and his transformation into a warrior begins. You can hear the rhythmic thud of heavy wooden swords striking practice dummies in the dusty courtyard. In this city, every father dreams of his son returning from battle with a captive. Life is not measured in years here but in the glory of the strike. You feel the intense heat of the sun on your neck as you follow him through the stone gates. Today you will witness how an empire turns children into the most feared soldiers in the world. You are standing in the dim, flickering light of a lime-plastered room in the heart of Tenochtitlan. The air is thick, heavy with the scent of burning copal resin and the metallic tang of blood. Outside, the city is waking up. You can hear the rhythmic slap of oars against the water of the canals and the distant, muffled calls of merchants setting up their stalls in the great market of Tlatelolco. But inside this house, the world has narrowed to a single point of intensity. A child is about to be born. In the Aztec world, this is not just a medical event. It is a battle. You see an elderly woman, the midwife, her face etched with the deep lines of experience and authority. She is known as the Suwatlamaqui, the wise woman. She does not merely assist in the birth. She is the commanding officer of this sacred conflict. As the labor reaches its peak, you hear her shouting words of encouragement, not in a gentle whisper, but in the soaring rhythmic oratory of a general leading troops into the fray. She calls the laboring mother a brave warrior. She tells her to take up her shield, to fight, to capture this new soul from the darkness and bring it into the light of the sun. When the cry of the newborn finally pierces the smoky air, the midwife does something that might startle you. She lets out a piercing war whoop. It is a cry of victory. She has successfully led the mother through the ordeal, and a new captive has been taken from the spirit world. If the child is a boy, the midwife speaks to him immediately, before he has even felt the warmth of his mother's skin. You listen as she leans close to the infant's ear. Her voice is no longer shouting, but it remains firm, steeped in a philosophy that will define every heartbeat of this boy's life. She does not tell him he is safe. She does not tell him the world is kind. Instead, she tells him that he has arrived at a place of suffering and struggle. She tells him that this house is only a nest, a temporary lodging, and that his true home is the battlefield. You are a bird of the sun, she whispers. You have come to this world to provide the sun with its food, which is the precious water of human blood. This is the moment the training begins. It does not start with a wooden sword or a drill sergeant's bark. It starts with the very language of existence. Before the boy can even see clearly, he is told that his destiny is to die. You watch as the midwife prepares the ritual objects that will accompany the infant during his first 4 days on earth. For a girl, there would be a tiny spindle and a weaving basket, symbols of the domestic hearth. But for this boy, the midwife brings out a miniature set of weapons. You see a tiny shield, no larger than a plum, and 4 small arrows. These are not toys. They are sacred icons. They represent the 4 cardinal directions and the totality of the world he is expected to conquer. These items are placed near him, perhaps even tucked into his swaddling clothes, so that the first things his hands ever touch are the tools of death. 4 days pass. You remain in the household as the family prepares for the naming ceremony. This is a moment of profound spiritual importance, where the boy's identity is locked into the cosmic machinery of the Aztec calendar. You see the father inviting a priest, a master of the Tonalamatl, the Book of Destiny. The priest consults the complex interlocking wheels of the sacred counts, looking for the signs of the boy's birth date. Is he born on a day of the jaguar? Then he will be fierce and daring. Is he born on a day of the reed? Then he might be a leader or a priest. But regardless of the specific day sign, the overarching theme remains the same. Every path for a boy in Tenochtitlan leads toward the service of the gods through the medium of war. The priest speaks of the boy's debt to the earth and the sun. He reminds the family that the gods sacrificed themselves to put the sun in motion, and now, it is the boy's turn to repay that debt with his own life or the lives of those he captures. The naming ceremony takes place at dawn. You follow the family out into the courtyard. The air is crisp and cool. A large ceramic basin filled with water sits in the center of the space. The midwife takes the boy and presents him to the four directions, lifting him high toward the rising sun. She sprinkles water over his chest and head, a ritual cleaning that is meant to wash away any lingering shadows from the womb. She speaks to the water, asking it to enter the boy's heart and make it clean, so that he may live a life of virtue. But what is virtue to an Aztec? It is not the absence of violence. It is the mastery of it. It is the ability to endure cold, hunger, and pain without flinching. It is the willingness to march for weeks through jagged mountains and steaming jungles for the glory of the empire. Now comes the most symbolic act of the entire ritual. The tiny shield and the 4 arrows are brought forward. The midwife formally presents them to the child. She tells him that these are his true parents. She tells him that he must live by the edge of the blade and that his death, if he is worthy, will be a flowery death, a death on the battlefield that will transform him into a hummingbird, destined to fly forever in the gardens of the sun. But the physical connection to the land of war goes even deeper. You watch as the father takes the boy's dried umbilical cord, which has been carefully preserved since the birth. He does not bury it under the floor of the house or toss it into the lake. He seeks out a veteran warrior, a man who has taken captives and seen the red dust of the frontier. Together they leave the city. You follow them as they navigate the causeways, leaving the gleaming white pyramids of Tenochtitlan behind. They travel until they reach a place where the earth is scarred, perhaps a borderland or a site where a great battle was once fought. With a small digging stick, the father carves a hole in the dirt. He places the umbilical cord into the earth and covers it up. This is the boy's first anchor. His flesh is literally planted in the soil of the battlefield. The Aztecs believe that by doing this, they are tying the boy's soul to the military frontier. From this day forward, he will feel a magnetic pull toward the horizon, toward the places where the empire is expanding. He does not belong to his mother. He does not even truly belong to his father. He belongs to the earth and the sun, and the debt he owes them can only be paid in the currency of war. As you walk back toward the city, you see the boy being carried in his mother's arms. He is only 4 days old, yet in the eyes of his society he is already a soldier on leave. Every lullaby his mother sings will be laced with the imagery of the shield and the spear. Every story his grandfather tells will be of the great kings who expanded the borders of the Triple Alliance. You begin to realize that for an Aztec boy, there is no such thing as an innocent childhood. There is no period of life where he is simply a child. He is a warrior in training, a seedling being nurtured specifically for the harvest of the gods. The walls of his home are not meant to keep the world out, but to prepare him to go out and conquer it. The weight of this destiny is heavy. You can see it in the way the adults look at the child. There is love, yes, but it is a fierce, disciplined love. They are not raising a son to take care of them in their old age. They are raising a sacrifice. They are raising a weapon. And as the sun climbs higher over the volcanoes that ring the valley, casting long shadows across the lake, you understand that the shield in the cradle is not just a symbol. It is the foundation of an entire civilization. The rites of the newborn have finished, and the long, grueling path toward the ranks of the eagle and jaguar warriors has officially begun. You are 5 years old, and the world of the Aztec Empire is no longer a place of soft cradle songs or the gentle rocking of a mother's arms. You wake before the sun has even thought of touching the peaks of the surrounding mountains. The air in your family home is cool and smells of damp earth and the lingering scent of last night's cooking fires. You do not roll over. You do not complain. To show weakness now is to fail the first test of your young life. In the city of Tenochtitlan, the household is not just a place of rest. It is your first barracks. Your father is your first commander. As you stand up from your reed mat, you see him. He is already awake, his posture straight, his eyes sharp. He is a commoner, perhaps a farmer or a craftsman, but in his mind and the mind of the state he is a warrior first. And you are his apprentice. You watch as your mother prepares the morning meal, but do not expect a feast. You are handed a single corn tortilla. It is thin, round, and dry. This is your ration. It is not meant to fill your belly, but to keep your spirit tethered to your body while you learn the art of hunger. In the years to come, as you grow older, this ration might increase to 2 tortillas, but never more than is absolutely necessary. You are being taught that your body is a tool that must function on the barest of fuels. A warrior who cannot march on an empty stomach is a warrior who will die in the high deserts or the dense jungles of the south. Your father beckons you outside. The streets are already coming alive with the sound of sweeping. This is a sound you will hear every day of your life. Every morning, the people of the city sweep their doorways and the public paths. It is an act of hygiene, yes, but for a boy like you, it is your first lesson in the cosmic order. The world is a place of chaos that must be kept at bay by constant, disciplined effort. You pick up a broom made of stiff fibers and you work until your small arms ache. You are learning that no task is beneath a man who serves the sun. As the morning progresses, the tasks become heavier. You are no longer just sweeping. You are sent to the banks of the canal to fetch water. You carry a ceramic jar that feels too large for your small frame. The strap of the vessel digs into your forehead or your shoulders. You feel the cold water slosh against your back, soaking your simple loincloth, but you do not stop. You are also expected to go to the outskirts of the chinampas, the floating gardens, to gather firewood or reeds. You learn to recognize the plants that bite back with thorns and the insects that sting. You do not cry when you are hurt. You simply adjust your load and keep walking. This is the physical conditioning of an Aztec childhood. It is subtle, hidden in the chores of daily life, but it is relentless. You are building the lean, corded muscle of a long-distance runner and a heavy laborer. You are learning the geography of your city and the endurance required to navigate it. But the discipline of the household is not just about hard work. It is about the absolute, unquestioning submission of the self to authority. Imagine for a moment that you have been caught in a lie. Or perhaps you were lazy with your tasks, or you showed disrespect to an elder. In a modern world, this might result in a stern lecture or a lost privilege. In the world of the Aztecs, the response is much more visceral. Your father does not merely scold you. He reaches for a maguey plant. You know the maguey well. It is a vital resource used for making fiber and drink, but it is also a tool of correction. He snaps off a long green leaf. At the end of this leaf is a dark, needle-sharp spine. You are made to stand still as your father takes that spine and presses it into your skin. He might pierce your arms, your legs, or even your ears. The pain is sharp and hot. You are expected to stand there and take it without flinching. This is not cruelty for the sake of cruelty. In the mind of your father, he is saving your life. He is preparing you for the battlefield, where an obsidian-bladed club will do far worse than a plant's spine. He is teaching you that pain is a sensation that can be observed and ignored. If you can endure the maguey thorn in the safety of your home, you might just survive the spear thrust in the heat of battle. But perhaps your offense was greater. Perhaps you have shown a persistent spirit of rebellion. For this, there is a more famous and more feared punishment. Your father gathers dried chili peppers from the kitchen. These are the small, potent peppers that provide the heat in the Aztec diet. He tosses them onto a small brazier of glowing coals. Immediately, a thick, white, acrid smoke begins to rise. You are held over this smoke. You are forced to inhale it. The effect is instantaneous and terrifying. Your eyes begin to burn as if they have been touched by fire. Tears stream down your face, not from sorrow but from the raw chemical sting of the peppers. Your throat constricts. You cough until your lungs feel like they might burst. You cannot catch your breath, and every gasp you take only brings more of that biting, searing smoke into your chest. It is a sensation of drowning while standing on dry land. As you stagger away from the fire, gasping for fresh air, the lesson is etched into your very nervous system. Disobedience leads to agony. The state, represented by your father, has the power to take away your very breath. This is the smoke that tempers the soul. It breaks the wildness of childhood and replaces it with the iron of a citizen soldier. Yet it is not all pain and toil. There is a deep sense of belonging in this life. As you walk through your neighborhood, your kalpuli, you see other boys your age doing exactly what you are doing. You see the older men, the warriors who have returned from the front, walking with a pride that is infectious. You see their feathered capes and their scarred limbs, and you know that the path of the spine and the smoke is the only path to that kind of glory. In the evenings, after the sun has dipped below the horizon and the city is bathed in the orange glow of thousand hearths, you sit by your father. This is when the education of the mind begins. He tells you stories of the ancestors. He speaks of the long migration from the mythical land of Aztlan. He tells you of the gods who sacrificed themselves so that the sun would move across the sky. He explains that the sun is a warrior who fights the stars and the moon every single night, and that he requires nourishment to continue that fight. You begin to understand that your life is not your own. You are a small but vital part of a cosmic machine. The discipline you endure is your contribution to the survival of the universe. If you are weak, the sun might fail. If you are lazy, the gods might turn their backs on the people. Your father's voice is steady and serious. He does not speak to you as a child, but as a future man of the sun. He uses proverbs and formal speech, teaching you the proper way to address your superiors and the proper way to carry yourself in public. You learn to keep your head down, to speak in a low and respectful tone, and to move with a quiet, deliberate grace. By the time you reach the age of 10 or 12, you are no longer the soft infant who was presented to the fire years ago. Your skin is tanned and toughened by the sun. Your feet are calloused from miles of walking barefoot over stone and dirt. You can go a full day on a handful of grain and a swallow of water. You have felt the sting of the thorn and the burn of the smoke, and you have learned to master the reflex to cry out. You look at your father and you no longer see just a parent. You see a model of what you must become. The household has done its job. It has taken the raw material of a human life and forged it into a blade that is ready for the final sharpening. You have learned the discipline of the hearth, the broom, and the ration. You are ready to leave the world of women and children behind. Soon the drums of the school will call to you. You will walk away from your family home and toward the massive stone walls of the temples and the training grounds. You will carry with you the lessons of the spikes and the smoke. The long, grueling path toward the ranks of the eagle and jaguar warriors is no longer a distant dream. It is the ground beneath your feet. You are a boy of the Aztec Empire, and you have been made ready for war. You stand at the threshold of a world that smells of stone, smoke, and sweat. This is the Telpakali, the house of youth, and for the next several years of your life, it will be your home, your prison, and your forge. You are a commoner, a Masawali, and while the sons of the lords go to the Kalmakak to learn the secrets of the stars and the calendars, your path is paved with obsidian and hard earth. Step inside. The air is cooler here, thick with the scent of burning copal incense and the musk of dozens of young men packed into a communal dormitory. There is no soft bed waiting for you. There is no mother to bring you a warm tortilla. There is only the hard, packed dirt floor and the watchful eyes of the Telpaklato, the masters of youth. The transition from your family home to this place is a shock to the senses. One day you were playing with clay figurines and helping your father in the chinampas, the floating gardens, and the next you are part of a rigid, breathing machine. The Telpakali is one of many such schools scattered throughout the neighborhoods of Tenochtitlan. Every district has its own, and every commoner boy is expected to enter its gates around the age of 15. You look around at the other boys. Some are your childhood friends, but their faces are already changing. They are hardening. Their eyes are beginning to mirror the stern, weathered expressions of the veteran warriors who walk among you. Your day begins long before the sun even thinks of touching the snowy peaks of the surrounding mountains. You wake to the low, resonant boom of the conch shell and the rhythmic beating of the tepanazli, the wooden slit drum. It is dark and freezing. Your first task is not to pick up a weapon, but to strip down and plunge into the icy waters of the lake. This is the ritual bath, a test of will meant to shock the sleep from your limbs and the softness from your soul. As you emerge shivering, the cold wind whipping across the water feels like 1,000 tiny needles against your skin. You are given a simple coarse cloak of maguey fiber. It is scratchy and thin, offering little protection, but you learn quickly that complaining is a luxury you can no longer afford. After the bath, the real work begins. If you expected to spend your days practicing with the macuahuitl, the obsidian-bladed club, you are mistaken. The Aztec philosophy of training is rooted in the belief that a warrior must first be a servant. You are assigned to a work gang. Today your task is to haul firewood from the forests on the mainland. You and your peers are given heavy wooden frames to strap to your backs. You march for miles, your calf muscles screaming as you climb the steep hillsides. You gather massive loads of timber, enough to fuel the eternal fires of the temples and the cooking fires of the school. By the time you return to the city, the sun is high and the weight of the wood has rubbed your shoulders raw. But you do not stop. You cannot stop. To show fatigue is to show weakness, and weakness is a stain on your family name. Life in the Telpa-Cali is a constant cycle of labor and discipline. You spend hours cleaning the neighborhood temples, sweeping the vast plazas until not a speck of dust remains. You dig canals, hauling heavy baskets of muck from the lake bottom to expand the city's foundations. This is not just manual labor. It is endurance training. It is designed to build the stamina you will need when you are marching 20 miles a day through the jungle or the high deserts on a military campaign. The masters watch you constantly. They look for the boy who sags under the weight of his basket. They look for the boy who tries to hide in the shade. Such boys are not coddled. They are beaten with wooden switches or made to endure the smoke of roasting chili peppers, a punishment that sears the lungs and blinds the eyes with stinging tears. But it is not all back-breaking toil. As the afternoon shadows lengthen, the nature of your training shifts. You are gathered in the central courtyard for physical instruction. This is where the sounds of the Telpa-Cali change from the grunts of labor to the sharp cracks of wood on wood. You start with wrestling. You are paired with a boy of your own size and told to bring him to the ground. There are no mats here, only the hard earth. You learn to use your weight, to find your center of gravity, and to read the intentions of your opponent. You learn how it feels to have the wind knocked out of you and how to get back up before the master can deliver a reprimand. Soon you graduate to the basic tools of the trade. You are given a heavy wooden pole, weighted to mimic the feel of a spear or a club. You practice the overhead strike, the lateral sweep, and the thrust. You do these movements over and over, thousands of times, until your arms feel like lead and the motion becomes as natural as breathing. You are taught how to move in unison with the boys around you. This is the most important lesson. An Aztec army is not a collection of individuals. It is a wall of shields, a forest of spears. You learn to listen for the signals, the whistles and the drums, that tell you when to advance, when to wheel left, and when to hold the line. As the sun begins to set, Tenochtitlan transforms. The city becomes a place of orange light and deep shadows. For the boys of the Telpa-Cali, this is the time for the Cuicacali, the house of song. You might think it strange that a school for warriors would place such importance on singing and dancing, but for the Aztecs, these arts are inseparable from war. You are marched to a large hall where the music begins. The drums beat a frantic, hypnotic rhythm. You dance. You dance for hours, performing complex, athletic movements that require incredible coordination and cardiovascular strength. These dances are not for entertainment. They are a form of ritual rehearsal. The songs you sing are the histories of your people. You belt out the stories of the great kings, the legendary battles, and the gods who demand the blood of the brave. Through these songs, the values of the empire are burned into your mind. You learn that the highest honor a man can achieve is to die on the flowery battlefield or to be sacrificed on the stone of the sun. You learn that your life belongs to the state, and your body is a gift for the gods. The dancing builds the explosive power in your legs and the rhythm in your spirit, ensuring that when you finally face an enemy, your movements will be fluid and your heart will be steady. Hunger is your constant companion. The food provided at the Telpa-Cali is sparse, usually just a few dry tortillas and a bit of bean paste. You are encouraged to supplement your diet by hunting or gathering, but you are never given enough to feel truly full. This is intentional. A warrior must be lean. He must be able to go days without food and still have the strength to fight. You learn to ignore the gnawing in your stomach. You learn to find focus in the emptiness. At night, you return to the dormitory. The fires are low and the air is thick with the smell of the pine torches. You lie down on your reed mat, your body aching in places you didn't know existed. But even now you are not entirely at rest. The masters might wake you at midnight for a sudden ritual, a march to a nearby hilltop to offer blood from your ears and tongue to the gods of the night. You learn to move in the darkness, to keep your footing on treacherous trails, and to remain silent when the world is still. There is a social hierarchy within these walls that you must navigate with care. The veteran warriors who teach you are held in absolute orate. They are the ones who have taken captives in real battle. They wear the eagle feathers and the jaguar skins that you dream of one day earning. To speak out of turn to them is a grave offense. You learn to keep your head down and your ears open. You listen to their stories, the way they describe the sound of an obsidian blade shattering against a wooden shield, or the smell of the dust rising from a charging army. These stories are your fuel. They transform the drudgery of your daily labor into a grand purpose. You also see the darker side of this life. You see the boys who cannot hack it. Some are expelled in disgrace, forced to live out their lives as lowly laborers, forever barred from the honors of the warrior class. Others are broken by the discipline, their spirits crushed under the weight of the expectations. But for you, every day that passes makes you stronger. You feel your shoulders broadening. You feel the calluses on your hands and feet becoming like leather. You are no longer the boy who left his mother's house. You are becoming something else. Inside the Telpa-Cali, the identity of the individual is slowly stripped away to be replaced by the identity of the group. You are part of a brotherhood. The boys you sweat with and bleed with are the ones you will eventually stand beside in the heat of combat. You learn their strengths and their weaknesses. You learn who can be trusted when the pressure is on. This bond is the secret weapon of the Aztec military. It is a connection forged in shared hardship and tempered in the fires of discipline. As the months turn into years, the training becomes more specialized. You begin to work with real weapons, though their edges are dulled for practice. You learn the weight of the chimali, the round shield decorated with feathers and leather fringe. You learn how to catch a blow and deflect it with a flick of the wrist. You learn the terrifying speed of the atlotl, the spear thrower that can send a dart whistling through the air with enough force to pierce a wooden plank. You practice with the macuahuitl, feeling the balance of the heavy oak club and imagining the razor-sharp obsidian teeth that will one day be embedded in its sides. The Telpa-Cali is a world of constant motion, of ritualized violence, and of profound spiritual devotion. It is a place where the physical and the metaphysical meet. You are not just training your muscles. You are training your tonality, your inner soul force. You are preparing yourself to become a vessel for the gods of war. Every drop of sweat you spill, every bruise you earn is an offering. One evening, as you stand on the roof of the school looking out over the gleaming white temples of Tenochtitlan, you realize that the fear you felt on your first day has been replaced by a grim, quiet anticipation. You are ready for the next step. You have endured the labor, the cold, the hunger, and the lash. You have learned the songs of your ancestors and the movements of the dance. The House of Youth has done its work. You are no longer a child of the city. You are a weapon of the Empire, waiting to be unsheathed. The quiet life of the commoner is behind you, and the roar of the battlefield is calling your name from the horizon. The sun is dipping low over the jagged mountains that ring the Valley of Mexico, casting long purple shadows across the stone plazas of Tenochtitlan. For most of the world, this is the time to retreat to the hearth, to share a meal of maize and beans, and to seek the quiet of the home. But for you, a young man growing up in the shadow of the great temple, the evening does not bring rest. It brings the beat of the drum. You can hear it already, a low rhythmic thrumming that seems to vibrate upward through the soles of your feet. It is coming from the Quiquicali, the house of song. Do not let the name deceive you. This is not a place for idle humming or gentle lullabies. In the Aztec world, song and dance are the twin engines of the state. They are the means by which history is recorded, gods are appeased, and most importantly, warriors are forged. You turn away from your family home and begin the walk toward the district school. Around you, other boys your age are doing the same. You move with a certain stiffness, your muscles aching from a day spent hauling water or working the fields, but as the sound of the huetl drum grows louder, your pace quickens. You arrive at a large, open courtyard flanked by sturdy stone walls. Torches are already being lit, their orange flames licking at the darkening sky and casting a flickering glow over the hundreds of young men gathering there. This is a communal space where the sons of the commoners and the sons of the nobility meet, though they often remain in their own groups. Here, the social hierarchy of the city takes a back seat to the singular goal of the evening. You are all here to learn the rhythm of the empire. You take your place in a long, precise line. The elders are watching. These are seasoned warriors, men who have taken captives in the flowery wars and who wear the scars of battle like medals of honor. They do not look at you with kindness. They look at you with the critical eyes of master craftsmen inspecting raw material. If you are slow, if you are clumsy, or if you are disrespectful, the punishment will be swift. A stinging blow from a cane or a sharp prick from a maguey thorn is a common reminder to stay focused. The master of ceremonies, a priest with skin stained black from soot and hair matted with dried sacrificial blood, steps into the center of the courtyard. He strikes the tepanazli, a wooden slit drum with two rubber-tipped mallets. The sound is hollow and haunting, a sharp contrast to the deep, booming roar of the upright huetl. The dance begins. It starts slowly. You shift your weight from foot to foot in perfect synchronization with the boys to your left and right. This is not a dance of individual expression. It is a dance of the collective. You move as one body, one mass of humanity. You are being taught how to move in a formation without breaking rank. Think of it as a rehearsal for the shield wall. When you are on the battlefield, the man to your left is your life. If you move out of sync, you create a gap. A gap is where a spear finds its way in. A gap is where a brother dies. So, you watch the shoulders of the boy in front of you. You listen for the change in the drumbeat. Step, slide, pivot. Step, slide, pivot. The tempo increases. Your heart begins to race to match the rhythm. The air in the courtyard grows hot as hundreds of bodies churn the dust into a fine mist. You are sweating now, the moisture stinging your eyes, but you do not reach up to wipe it away. To do so would be to break the form. You are learning the endurance required for a forced march. You are learning to ignore the protests of your lungs and the burning in your calves. Then the singing starts. It begins as a low drone, a guttural sound that rises from the chest rather than the throat. These are the sacred hymns of the Mexica. They are not songs about love or the beauty of the lakes. They are songs of blood and flowers. In the Aztec mind, blood and flowers are often the same thing. A wound is a red blossom opening on the skin. Death on the battlefield is the ultimate beauty, a gift to the sun to ensure it continues its journey across the sky. You lift your voice with the others. The lyrics tell of the great Huitzilopochtli, the god of war, who led your ancestors from the mythical land of Aztlan to this very spot. You sing of the heroes of the past, men who captured dozens of enemies and died with honor on the sacrificial stone. As you sing, you are not just repeating words. You are absorbing a worldview. You are being told over and over again that your life is not your own. It belongs to the city. It belongs to the gods. You are being taught that the greatest fate you can hope for is to die in the heat of combat, for the souls of fallen warriors are said to transform into hummingbirds that follow the sun for eternity. Can you feel the power of it? The drums are now reaching a deafening crescendo. The vibration is so intense you can feel it in your teeth. You are no longer an individual. You are a part of a machine. This is the psychological conditioning of the Aztec military. In the Quixicali, they break down your sense of self and replace it with a sense of duty. They replace your fear of death with a hunger for glory. The elders walk between the lines, occasionally shouting corrections or physically adjusting a boy's posture. They are looking for the ones who stand out, not through flashiness, but through perfect discipline. These sessions last for hours. By the time the moon is high overhead, your legs feel like lead and your voice is hoarse from the chanting. But you cannot stop. To show exhaustion is to show weakness, and there is no room for weakness in the heart of Tenochtitlan. There is another aspect to these nights at the House of Song that is just as vital for a future soldier. During the breaks, or as the formal dancing winds down, there is a chance for social interaction. Young women from the nearby schools often attend these gatherings as well. You might see them watching from the edges, or participating in their own rhythmic circles. This is one of the few times when the strict segregation of the sexes is relaxed. You might catch the eye of a girl you like, or share a brief word as you move toward the water jars. But even this is part of the training. You want to impress her. You want her to see you as a strong, capable man. You know that if you fail in your duties, if you are cowardly or lazy, you will be shamed not just by the men, but by the women of your community. The desire for social standing and the fear of public humiliation are powerful tools used by the state to keep you in line. You want to be the warrior they sing about. You want to be the man who returns with captives and fine feathered cloaks to lay at the feet of a proud family. As the final drumbeat echoes off the stone walls and fades into the night air, a heavy silence falls over the courtyard. The priest offers a final prayer to the gods of the night, and you are dismissed. You walk back toward your Kalpuli, your district, through the dark and quiet streets. The city feels different now. The peaceful canals and the sleeping markets are just a veneer. Underneath it all, you know that Tenochtitlan is a city of war. You are no longer the same boy who left his home a few hours ago. Your mind is filled with the images of the songs, of obsidian blades and eagle feathers and the screaming of the sun. Your body has been pushed to its limit and held there, teaching you that you are capable of more than you ever imagined. This is the rhythm of your life. Every night the drums will call you back. Every night the songs will remind you of who you are and what you are expected to become. You are a weapon in the making. The Quixicali has sharpened your spirit and tempered your resolve. You understand now that war is not just an event that happens on a distant field. It is a state of being. It is a dance that you perform every day of your life. You go to sleep on your simple reed mat, but your dreams are not of play or of childhood comforts. Your dreams are filled with the steady, unrelenting beat of the Huetl, and the shimmering, terrifying promise of the battlefield. The songs are still ringing in your ears, telling you that the flowery death is waiting, and you find that you are no longer afraid of it. You are ready for it. Tomorrow you will return to your daily chores, but you will carry yourself differently. You will walk with the measured pace of the dancer and the focused gaze of the hunter. You are a son of the sun, and the House of Song has taught you how to shine. The transition from the songs of the youth to the steel of the man is almost complete. Soon, the wooden training sticks will be replaced by the macuahuitl, the obsidian-bladed sword that can decapitate a horse with a single blow. The House of Song was the beginning, the place where your soul was tuned to the frequency of the empire. Now you look toward the horizon, waiting for the day when the music stops and the real shouting begins. The morning air in the Valley of Mexico is crisp and thin, but you do not feel the chill. You feel the sweat already beginning to beat at your temples because of the pressure of the wide cotton strap pressing into your forehead. This is the Mekapol, the tumpline that will be your closest companion for the next several weeks. You are 15 years old, and for the first time in your life, you are leaving the familiar chinampas and the bustling markets of Tenochtitlan. You are no longer just a student playing at war with wooden sticks and practice maneuvers. You are a porter, a tlamatl in training, and you are part of the massive, grinding machine of the Aztec Empire moving toward the horizon. You stand in a long, disciplined line that stretches so far back toward the city center that you cannot see the end of it. Ahead of you, the path climbs into the rugged mountains that ring the valley. You are not carrying a shield or a spear, not yet. Instead, you are carrying the life and the status of the man walking directly in front of you. He is a veteran warrior, a man who has captured enemies in battle and earned the right to wear the eagle feather headdress and the quilted cotton armor that you currently have bundled on your back. To him, you are a shadow, a servant, and a student. To you, he is the terrifying bridge between the boy you were and the man you hope to become. The weight on your back is roughly 60 pounds. Inside the woven reed crate or petla kali are the essentials of war. You carry his obsidian-edged sword, the macuahuitl, wrapped carefully in cloth so the glass-like blades do not chip. You carry his spare sandals, his sleeping mat, and enough toasted maize flour and dried beans to keep him fed for 20 days. Every step you take, the crate shifts and the tumpline digs deeper into your skin. Your neck muscles are already screaming, locked in a permanent strain to keep your head forward and the weight balanced. If you stumble, you do not just hurt yourself. You dishonor the warrior you serve, and in the Aztec world, honor is more precious than breath. You hear the rhythmic thump of a drum somewhere far ahead. It is a slow, steady beat that dictates the pace of the march. It is not the frantic rhythm of the dance or the urgent call to the temple. It is the heartbeat of an army. You match your stride to the man in front of you. You watch the back of his calves, seeing the corded muscle and the scars he earned in previous campaigns. He does not look back to check on you. He expects you to be there. He expects you to endure. As the column moves out of the valley, the paved causeways give way to dirt tracks that wind upward into the pine forests. The dust rises in thick clouds, kicked up by thousands of pairs of fiber sandals. It coats your throat and turns your sweat into a thin layer of mud on your skin. You realize very quickly that war is not just about the moment of impact or the glory of the capture. War is the endless, grueling labor of logistics. For every warrior ready to strike a blow, there is a boy like you, carrying the food, the water, and the gear that makes that blow possible. The knowledgeable guides and the priests walk near the front, but you are in the thick of the common ranks. You listen to the sounds around you. There is the clinking of stone against stone, the low murmur of thousands of men talking in Nahuatl, and the occasional sharp command from a captain. You pass through small villages where the local people stand by the side of the road in silence. Some look at the passing army with awe, others with a deep, masked fear. You see boys your own age watching you from the cornfields. A few weeks ago you were them. Now you are part of the force that demands their tribute and their respect. By midday the sun is high and the shade of the pines offers little relief. Your breathing is heavy. You have been taught in the school, the Telpa Kali, to breathe through your nose and to keep your mind focused on a single point of light. You use that now. You focus on the rhythmic sway of the veteran's feathered cape. You learn the secret of the long march, which is to disappear into your own mind while your body becomes a machine of burden. You think about the stories you were told of the ancestors who wandered for generations before finding the eagle on the cactus. They carried their entire lives on their backs, just as you are carrying the needs of the empire. When the sun finally begins to dip toward the western mountains, the signal is given to halt. The relief is so sudden it almost makes you collapse. But you cannot rest yet. As a trainee, your work increases when the march stops. You must quickly unstrap the heavy crate and set it down with care, ensuring the warrior's equipment is not soiled by the damp earth. You must gather wood for a fire, fetch water from a nearby stream, and begin the process of preparing the evening meal. You watch the veteran as he sits. He ignores you mostly, but his eyes are sharp, observing how you handle his gear. You mix the toasted maize flour with water to create a thin, energizing gruel. You hand it to him in a gourd bowl, keeping your eyes downcast as a sign of respect. He drinks it in silence, then looks at you. He tells you that tomorrow the climb will be steeper. He tells you that the air will get colder as you cross the high mountain passes. He says that if you cannot keep up, the mountain will eat you and no one will stop to pick up your burden. His voice is not cruel, it is simply factual. This is the first lesson of the campaign. The army does not wait for the weak. As the fires die down and the camp settles into a cold, watchful silence, you roll out your thin mat on the hard ground. Your body thumps with a dull, persistent ache. Your forehead, where the strap rested, is bruised and tender to the touch. You look up at the stars, the same stars that watch over Tenochtitlan, but they feel different here. They feel colder, sharper. You realize that you are now a very small part of something very large. You are learning the geography of your world not from a map, but through the soles of your feet and the strain in your lower back. You are learning that an empire is built on grain and sandals as much as it is built on obsidian and blood. You understand now why the teachers at the school were so hard on you, why they made you carry heavy logs and rocks during your training. They weren't just building your muscles. They were preparing your spirit for this transition, from the safety of the schoolyard to the reality of the road. Before you drift into a heavy sleep, you check the warrior's gear one last time. You touch the handle of the Macuahuitl. Feels cold and heavy. You wonder if, by the end of this campaign, you will be the one carrying it into the smoke of battle rather than just carrying it in a box. You wonder if you will have the courage to do what is required when the crates are finally put down and the shields are taken up. The next morning, the drum sounds before the first light touches the valley floor. You are awake before the sound even fades, your hands moving automatically to tighten the straps of the reed crate. Your muscles protest stiff and cold, but you ignore them. You swing the weight onto your back, lean forward to balance the center of gravity, and wait for the man in front of you to move. The march continues for days. You cross through the high passes where the wind howls and the breath of the men looks like white smoke. You see the landscape change from lush valleys to arid plains. Your world has narrowed down to the path directly in front of you and the weight on your brow. You have learned how to sleep while standing during short breaks. You have learned how to ignore the blisters on your heels until they turn into hard calluses. You have become a porter of the Triple Alliance. One afternoon the column slows. The air feels different. There is a tension that ripples back from the front of the line like a wave. The veteran in front of you reaches back and touches the crate on your shoulders. It is the first time he has initiated contact. He tells you to stay close. He tells you that the enemy scouts have been spotted on the ridges ahead. You feel a sudden spike of adrenaline that cuts through your exhaustion. The weight on your back suddenly feels lighter, or perhaps you have just finally grown into it. You realize that the long march is almost over. The destination is in sight. You look past the veteran's shoulder and see a distant city nestled against a hillside, its white temples gleaming in the sun. That is the target. That is where the training ends and the real test begins. You tighten your grip on the straps and step forward. You are no longer just a boy from the city. You are a part of the coming storm, and you are carrying the weight of the Aztec sun on your back. The dust rises in choking clouds as thousands of feet march across the dry earth of the valley. You can taste the salt and the grit on your tongue. Around you, the air is thick with the scent of sweat, old leather, and the sweet, heavy aroma of copal incense drifting from the portable altars carried by the priests. You are no longer within the safe, white-walled confines of the Kalmakak or the Telpa Kali. The training grounds are leagues behind you. Today the world is made of obsidian, cotton, and blood. You look down at your hands. They are gripping the handle of your Macuahuitl so tightly that your knuckles are white. This is the weapon you have spent years learning to swing in perfect arcs. Its wooden body is heavy, and the volcanic glass blades embedded in its sides are sharp enough to shave with. But as you stand in the ranks, surrounded by men who have been your brothers since childhood, you realize that all the drills in the world cannot prepare you for the roar of a real battlefield. You are a novice. To anyone looking at you, your status is obvious. It is written in your hair. 4 years you have worn your hair long, but now, as a young man on his first campaign, it has been cut away, leaving only a single long lock at the nape of your neck. This is the poitle. It is the mark of a student, a boy who has yet to prove he belongs among the men. It is a symbol of potential, but also a symbol of shame if it remains there too long. Every day you wear that lock of hair, you are telling the world that you have not yet tasted victory. You are a shadow in the ranks, a person of no consequence. The command sounds. It is not a shout, but the haunting high-pitched scream of a conch shell trumpet echoing across the plain. The line begins to move. You are part of a swarm, a living tide of quilted cotton armor and round shields. Your heart is drumming against your ribs like a trapped bird. You remember what your teachers told you. Do not run for the sake of running. Do not strike for the sake of killing. The goal of an Aztec warrior is not to leave a field of corpses. It is to take the enemy alive. This is the great paradox of your life. It would be easy to bring that obsidian blade down on an enemy's neck and end his life in a single stroke. But there is no glory in a dead body. A dead enemy is a wasted resource. He cannot be led back to the great temple. He cannot be offered to the sun to ensure the rains fall and the maize grows. To become a true man, to shed that humiliating lock of hair, you must do something much more difficult. You must grapple with a man who is fighting for his life, overpower him and bind him. The first clash is a wall of noise. Shouts in Nahuatl and the languages of the frontier rise up to the sky. You see the flash of bright feathers and the dull gray of stone. Your unit moves forward and suddenly the enemy is there. He is not a monster. He is a young man just like you, perhaps from a city-state that refused to pay tribute, or perhaps this is a flower war, a staged ritual of combat where the only prize is the capture of souls. You see your opening. A warrior across from you has overextended. His shield is low. You do not think. Your body moves with the muscle memory of 10,000 repetitions. You do not swing the sharp edge of your club. Instead, you use the flat of the wood to strike him across the temple, dazing him. As he stumbles, you drop your shield and spring forward. This is the moment of truth. You must work with your companions. For if you swarm him, grabbing his arms, hooking your legs behind his knees to bring him to the earth. He screams and thrashes, biting and scratching like a trapped animal. You feel the heat of his breath and the slickness of his blood where the obsidian grazed him. You haul him up, pinning his arms behind his back. In that moment, everything changes. The chaos of the battle seems to fade into the background. You have done it. You have taken a captive. But the transformation is not immediate. When the battle concludes and the long march back to Tenochtitlan begins, you are no longer just another boy in the crowd. However, the rules of the Aztec military are strict and specific. If you were one of the 4 who helped take this prisoner, you are collectively successful, but you have not yet reached the first true rank. To become a Tlamani, a captor, you must be the primary person responsible for taking a prisoner in single combat. When you return to the city, the atmosphere is electric. The people line the causeways, throwing flower petals and shouting the names of the heroes. You watch as the great warriors, the eagles and the jaguars, march past in their magnificent suits of feathers and animal skins. You look at your own plain, unadorned cotton tunic and feel the weight of that single lock of hair on your neck. Soon the ceremony begins. You stand before the elders and the priests. If your capture is verified, if witnesses confirm your bravery, the transformation begins. They take a pair of copper shears. With a quick snip, the poiodle, the lock of youth, falls to the ground. For the first time in your life, you are allowed to cut your hair like a man. The emperor himself might provide your reward. For your first capture, you are given a mantle, a cloak. It is not the simple, rough agave fiber garment of a commoner. It is made of fine cotton, decorated with a flower design or a pattern of wind-blown jewels. You are also given a new name, or a title that reflects your deed. You are now a Tlamani. You have crossed the threshold. You are no longer a student. You are a warrior. But the pressure does not ease. It intensifies. In the Aztec world, status is not something you inherit and keep forever. It is a ladder that you must climb, and if you stop climbing, you begin to slide backward. To reach the next rank, you must take a second captive. This is significantly harder. The enemies you face now recognize your decorated mantle. They know you are an emerging threat. When you secure your second prisoner, your wardrobe changes again. You are granted the right to wear the Quetzalcoatl suit. This is a spectacular outfit, a tight-fitting bodysuit often dyed in brilliant primary colors, topped with a tall, conical cap made of stiffened cloth or leather. When you walk through the marketplace wearing the conical hat of a two-captive warrior, people move out of your way. You are a person of rising influence. You are allowed to sit in the lower councils. You are given a larger share of the tribute that flows into the city from the conquered provinces. But your eyes are always on the third capture. The third captive brings the papalotl, the butterfly banner. This is a massive frame worn on your back, decorated with shimmering feathers that flutter as you move, making you look like a supernatural being on the battlefield. By this point you are a veteran. You are the one leading the novices. You are the one telling the boys with the locks of hair to keep their shields up and their eyes open. The fourth capture is the ultimate goal for many. This is the gateway to the elite orders. Taking 4 captives in battle transforms you into a person of nearly noble status, regardless of who your father was. You are now eligible to become a jaguar or an eagle warrior. You are given the Tlahuistli, the full-body suit made of eagle feathers or the spotted skin of the great jungle cat. You are granted a seat in the war council. You can eat at the palace. You are given land and servants. But imagine the weight of that journey. Every time you step onto the battlefield, you are gambling your life for a promotion. If you go several campaigns without taking a new captive, your peers begin to whisper. If you are a man of 25 and you still only have 1 captive to your name, the shame is suffocating. You are mocked. You are told that perhaps you should have stayed at home to grind maize with the women. The Aztec system is designed to produce a constant, burning hunger for achievement. It is a meritocracy fueled by extreme violence and religious devotion. You realize now that the training in the school was just the beginning. The real training happens in the heart of the melee, where you must decide in a split second whether to kill or to capture. You have learned to read the rhythm of a man's breathing, to watch the twitch of his shoulder, to know exactly when he is about to break so you can lunge forward and claim your prize. The price of a captive is your youth. You traded your childhood for a sharp blade and a decorated cloak. You traded the safety of your home for the terrifying glory of the sun's service. As you stand on the top of the temple watching the captives you took ascend the stairs to meet their fate, you do not feel pity. You feel a grim satisfaction. Their journey is over, but yours is just beginning. You are a warrior of the sun, and the sun is always hungry for more. You touch the spot on your neck where your hair used to hang long and you smile. You're a man now. You are a hunter of men. And the next war is already appearing on the horizon. You are no longer the boy who played with toy spears in the dust of your family courtyard. You are no longer the tired student hauling heavy firewood or cleaning the temple steps under the cold light of the moon. You have passed through the fire. You have seen the flash of obsidian in the sun and heard the bone-chilling whistle of the eagle bone flute on the field of battle. You have felt the spray of hot blood on your face and the heavy weight of a struggling man in your arms as you wrestled him to the earth. You have done what was asked of you. You have captured your first enemies. You have proven that you are not just a mouth to be fed by the empire but a hand that feeds the gods. Now, as you stand in the center of the great city of Tenochtitlan, the world looks different. The smells of the market, the roasting maize, the sweet scent of chocolate, and the sharp tang of lake salt all seem more vivid. You are standing on the precipice of a transformation that most men will never know. You are about to enter the most prestigious circles of the Triple Alliance. You are ascending into the ranks of the Eagle and Jaguar warriors. Take a moment to look at your hands. They are calloused and scarred. They are the hands of a man who has survived the brutal transition from a commoner to a hero. In your society, birth is a starting point, but it is not a final destination. Even if you were born to a humble family of farmers or feather workers, your prowess on the battlefield has carved out a new identity for you. You have captured 4 or more enemies in live combat. This is the magic number. This is the threshold. By bringing 4 warriors back to the city to face the sacrificial stone, You have earned the right to shed your plain maguey fiber cloak and put on the skin of a predator. Imagine yourself being led into the House of the Eagles. This is not just a barracks. It is a palace, a temple, and a private club all rolled into one. The air here is thick with the smell of copal incense and the musk of well-used weapons. As you walk through the doorway, you see men who were once like you, but who now appear like creatures from a dream or a nightmare. Some are draped in the spotted pelts of jaguars, the heads of the great cats resting atop their own like helmets, their teeth framing the human faces within. Others are covered in a riot of feathers, their arms fitted with wooden frames that look like wings, their helmets carved into the likeness of eagle beaks. You are being initiated into the elite. This is the shadow of the eagle and the jaguar, and it is a shadow that stretches across the entire Valley of Mexico. The transition is physical and immediate. You are stripped of your old life. Your hair, which used to hang in a long lock at the back of your head to mark you as a novice, is finally cut. This is a moment of profound pride. You are no longer a child. You are a quatli, an eagle, or an ocelotl, a jaguar. The priests and veteran commanders present you with your new equipment. This is not just gear. It is your soul made visible. You receive your tlahuitztli, the tight-fitting bodysuit made of quilted cotton. It is soaked in brine to make it tough and stiff, thick enough to turn away an arrow or a glancing blow from a club. Over this, you might wear the skin of a real jaguar, the fur soft but the spirit fierce. Or perhaps you receive the eagle suit, covered in hundreds of carefully stitched feathers that catch the light in a shimmering dance of green and gold. When you put on the helmet, the world narrows. You see the world through the open maw of the jaguar or the sharp beak of the eagle. Your identity as an individual begins to dissolve. You are no longer just a man named for a birth date or a flower. You are the embodiment of the sun's power and the earth's ferocity. You are the defender of the people and the provider for the heavens. You are now allowed to sit in the great palace. You are given the right to eat at the king's table and drink the sacred cacao that is forbidden to the common folk. You are granted land of your own, worked by others, so that you may spend every waking hour perfecting the art of war. But this prestige comes with a heavy price. The shadow of the eagle and the jaguar is a dark one. You are now the first into the breach and the last to retreat. When the drums sound and the conch shells wail, it is you who must lead the charge. The common soldiers look to your feathers and your spotted skin as a beacon. If you falter, the empire falters. Think about what it means to be a jaguar warrior. The jaguar is the master of the night. It is the creature that dwells in the shadows of the jungle, the animal that can move through the undergrowth without snapping a single twig. As a jaguar warrior, you represent the nocturnal sun, the power that travels through the underworld after the light has faded. Your combat style is one of sudden, explosive violence. You are the shock troop. When you scream your war cry, it is meant to sound like the roar of the great cat, a sound that freezes the blood of your enemies. Then there are the eagles. If the jaguar is the earth and the night, the eagle is the sky and the day. As an eagle warrior, you are a servant of Huitzilopochtli, the god of the sun and war. You are the hunter who strikes from above. Your duty is to ensure that the sun has the strength to rise every morning. The blood of the captives you take is the fuel for the celestial fire. When you wear the eagle suit, you are literally mimicking the bird that carries the sun across the sky. You are a creature of light, but it is a harsh, burning light that consumes everything in its path. Living in the warrior houses, your day begins before the dawn. You practice with the macuahuitl, the wooden sword edged with obsidian blades so sharp they can shave a man or decapitate a horse. You learn the intricate dances that are actually combat drills in disguise. You study the maps of distant lands, the mountain passes of the south, and the coastal roads of the east. You are becoming a diplomat and a spy as much as a soldier. The elite warriors are often sent as ambassadors to foreign cities, where their very presence, draped in their magnificent regalia, serves as a terrifying reminder of the power of Tenochtitlan. But there is a spiritual weight to this ascension as well. You are taught that your life is no longer your own. You are a person who is already dead in a sense. You have accepted that your end will likely come on the battlefield or on the sacrificial stone of an enemy city. This acceptance gives you a strange kind of peace. Makes you fearless. You do not fear the obsidian blade because you know that a warrior's death is the most glorious fate possible. To die in battle is to become a hummingbird, destined to fly forever in the gardens of the sun. As you walk through the streets of the city in your new finery, the people part for you. Children look at you with the same wide-eyed wonder you once had. They see the feathers, the gold jewelry in your lip and nose, and the fierce painting on your face. You are a celebrity. You are a hero. But as you look at the great temple, the Templo Mayor, rising high above the city, you feel the true scale of your responsibility. The gods are hungry. The universe is fragile. The people of the sun believe that without the constant flow of sacred energy, the world will end in a series of catastrophic earthquakes. You are the one who prevents that. Every time you step onto the battlefield, you are playing a part in a cosmic drama. The shadow of the eagle and the jaguar is the only thing standing between the world and the total darkness of the void. You find yourself standing on the edge of the lake as the sun begins to set. The water turns to liquid gold, reflecting the orange glow of the sky. You feel the cool breeze on your skin, the same breeze that ruffles the feathers of your headdress. You are an elite. You have ascended. You have moved from the ranks of the many to the ranks of the few. But the horizon is never empty. Somewhere to the east or the south or the west, a city is refusing to pay its tribute. Somewhere, a king is insulting the honor of your emperor. You grip the handle of your shield. The leather is cool and firm. You feel the weight of the obsidian sword at your side. You are ready. The training of your childhood, the hardships of the schools, and the terror of your first battles have all led to this moment. You are a predator of the empire. You are the eagle who soars and the jaguar who stalks. And as the stars begin to peer through the deepening blue of the Mexican sky, you know that your journey is only beginning. The higher you climb, the further there is to fall, but for now you are the master of the world. Your shadow is long and it is the shape of a god.